Welcome back everyone to Talk to Me in Korean. It is time for Korean Q&A. Let's go. 안녕하세요 여러분, 선현우입니다. Hi, I'm Hyunwoo from talktomeinkorean.com and today we're talking about this question from Satiswarar. The question is in 존댓말 when you say so and so 씁니다, why does it sound like 씁니다, not 씁니다? All right, so well, this kind of phenomenon can be found in other commonly used Korean expressions. So for example, I assume most of you know what 감사합니다 means. And even if you don't know, it's all right. Don't worry. It means thank you. So 감사합니다. If you look at the individual syllables, you have 5 syllables. 감사합니다. But nobody ever says 감사합니다, except for maybe some potentially comical situations. People always say a more fluid, a more natural pronunciation, 감사합니다. And this is actually how we show the pronunciations of phrases in our textbooks as well. So 감사합니다, and some people say 감사합니다. And of course, there are standard rules for pronouncing words like consonants together, but not everything that people say almost every day is in the standard rules. So you will see what I mean later. So we're talking basically about consonant assimilation. There are more technical terms, that you might want to learn, but you don't really have to learn those terms. So I will try not to use terms like, nasalization and things like that. But assimilation is the term that I will use in this video. So basically 2 consonants that are like in separate syllables working together to form a common or similar sounding sound is consonant assimilation. And this does not only happen in Korean. You can find this happening in many languages, including English. So do you ever say grandmother or grandfather? You more naturally say just grandmother, grandfather. Even the standard pronunciation sign in dictionaries is grandmother. You never see a trace of D there, so it's grandmother. But originally, it must have been grandmother, like with the D. But pronouncing D was probably inconvenient, so people started saying grandmother, grandmother, without just, even recognizing the sound there. So grandmother, grandfather. Just like that, in Korean, you can find many examples. Okay, so let's look at some examples and talk about some rules, all right? So these are the Korean consonants, and often, for example, this and this work together to either become, this or that, and these often work together to form a new kind of sound that you might not have expected, and these 2 work closely together as well. So let's look at the first example. 신문. You're looking at 신 and 문. So 신문 means newspaper. 신문. You might hear people saying 신 and 문, enunciating everything 신문, but a lot of people say 신문. And this is because when your brain already knows that you are going to say the word for newspaper, 신문, and you know that this sound is coming, and stopping at shin and then going to 문 is a little bit inconvenient. And this is also because with Korean consonants, whenever you have a 받침, the last consonant of a syllable, you don't carry it over like English. Like when you say mom, you have a hint of that M at the end, mom. You don't say mom, you say mom. You have that lingering sound there. But in Korean, it's much more abrupt of an ending. So shin, shin. And also when you say the niun sound, you are basically placing your tongue between your upper and lower teeth. Shin, shin. And then imagine having to go from there to the next consonant, which is m. So it's a bit inconvenient. So you say shimmun. Your mouth position, your mouth shape, tongue position is already geared toward saying m, the next consonant that comes up. So it's shimmun. A lot of people say shimmun. with many of these words, many of these examples that I'm going to show you, some of them can be the standard pronunciation, some of them can be not the standard pronunciation, but when you actually look at how people talk every day in real life conversations, they tend to be more put together and show consonant assimilation more frequently than in standard Korean pronunciation rules. Okay? So the next one is 설 plus 날, 설 plus 날, 설 and 날. So you have the first syllable ending with 리을 and then the second syllable ending with 날. 설. Your tongue is touching the ceiling of your mouth, inside. 설. And then you have to, drag it out of there and then place it between upper and lower teeth. 설날. It's so much work. So people just say 설날, 설날. Okay? So 설날 is the Korean New Year's Day. 설날. So 설날. This is how it is always pronounced. So for example, if you said this and the other person did not get you, did not understand you, then you might say 설날. So this kind of technique, this kind of going over each syllable is used in dictation tests sometimes. You're asking the other person to write down something and the other person didn't get it. So you go back to the original individual syllable sounds, but except for that, you usually say 설날. Next one. 국물, 국물. So you have 국 and 물. Unlike in English and many other languages, in Korean when you say 국, this, letter can represent something like G or K, but you don't say gug or you don't say guk. You just stop it there. 국, 국. The 기억 just stops there. 국. You don't make the sound, 국. It never happens like that. 국. And then imagine saying m sound. 국물. 국물. If you try this right now, you will sound like 국물 with an ng sound in front of m. So 국물. So 국물 is what most people say. 국물. All right. So another kind of consonant assimilation that you can see here. Next one. 혼 and 란, it means confusion. So 혼, you say 혼, and your tongue is between your upper and lower teeth, and then you have to go back to 란. So 홀란, 홀란, saying 홀란 is easier. So people say this, and it also applies to many loan words that came from other languages. And this is a name, Henry, Henry. So since it is inconvenient to say hen and then go to li, which is, niun and riul are in two separate places, people just say helli. No, that was wrong. Henni, henni. So sometimes they work together to become riul, sometimes they work together to become niun. So that's the confusing part, but once you hear native speakers say the same word a few times, you will get the idea. Henni, henni. Some people do say henli to maybe honor the original pronunciation, but you often say henni, henni, henni. And you can see the same thing happening in this word as well. This is also another loan word, top and model, top plus model. So with this word, you have pi읍 and mium. Even though pi읍 and mium are pronounced in the same location and the mouth shape is the same, in Korean, since you don't say tob or top, you don't say that, so you just stop it right there, top. So just by hearing that, you never know whether it is ending with a b sound or a p sound, so you just stopped right there, top. And then the moment you open your mouth to make any sound, it is followed by ma. So there's no way for you to say b or p. So 톱모델, 톱모델 is how people say it, 톱모델. All right? So next one, Finland. Finland is, of course, the country, and 핀란드 is inconvenient, a lot more work to say than 핀란드. So in English, you say Finland. Finland, you put these two apart, but in Korean, they're just assimilated. All right, and then going back to the question, so we have this ending, you know, I do, he does, she does, it does. In formal language, you say 합니다, but it becomes 합니다, 합니다, 합니다. So that's why we said 감사합니다 earlier. And 입니다 is the same. 입니다, you know, to be in formal language. 저는 선현우 입니다. It's unnatural, so I say 입니다, 입니다, 입니다. They become more similar sounds to each other. And 습니다, this was quoted, this was mentioned in the question. So 습니다, formal ending of many verbs. So you say 하겠습니다, 알겠습니다. Never say 습니다. It's really practically impossible when you're speaking fast, right? So it becomes 습니다. Although there are rules, apart from the fact that they are put together to become more similar to each other, people have different ways to pronounce the same thing. So 습니다, you know, if it sounds like 습니다 too, 습니다, it might be because the other person is actually saying 습니다, and I think a lot of kids say 습니다, 알겠습니다, because they don't know the proper spelling yet. Yeah, there you go. And one more thing. So this kind of consonant assimilation phenomenon can affect Korean people's English accent as well. You might have noticed from your Korean friends who speak English, even if their English level is really high, they might say things a little bit differently. For example, when they want to say, I want to make many friends, because this English word ends with, you know, make, or it can be 기억. So, and then this word starts with the equivalent of 미음. They kind of work together to become make many. So even people with high English level, with a high English level, they might say, I want to make many friends, make many friends. And similarly, take my hand, someone with a Korean accent can say, take my hand, when they're singing and things like that. You can notice these small things when Korean singers sing English language songs. So if you haven't found these things happening, maybe it's a fun thing to kind of listen for. So there you go. This was about consonant assimilation, another episode of Korean Q&A. Thanks for watching. And if you want to learn more Korean, please go to talktomekorean.com/curriculum to see our entire grammar level structure, and maybe, you know, click on some of the lessons to start learning more. And I'll be back next week. 감사합니다. Bye.